Hey everybody, welcome to Ellis Mowers. I appreciate y'all watching as always. Had a guy from our church see if I could get this running for him. This is a John Deere LT166. I guess you could call it a Franken mower because it has a deck that is not from this mower on it that has been retrofitted. Two main issues it's got, I think. The biggest one is it just will not turn over with the key no matter what you try and do, so we got to figure that out. And then we've got to figure out the whole deck situation. I don't think the lift arm and whatnot's working. Figure this would be a good study or good case study to film, since this is a Franken mower. It's a 16 horsepower Vanguard. It's got a 46-inch deck off of like a 318 or an older John Deere. These are supposed to have a 42 or a 48 depending on what model you get. Hydro trans, all the tires hold air. It just I just got to figure out the wiring issue with it not wanting to start. So we'll go ahead and get started on that. I hope y'all enjoy the video. If you have any questions about the video, you can reach out to me, Ellis at ellismowers.com, or on Instagram or Facebook at ellismowers09. Hope y'all enjoy the video. Let's go ahead and get started on this thing. Alright guys, as always, I'll give you a walk around. This is LT166. Typically, these hoods are missing because they just bust and break all apart. Never age very well. John Deere made some horrible hoods during this era, although the mowers themselves are not bad. 16 horsepower Briggs Vanguard. I think this is around a 2000 model year. A little bit older than that, actually. I should have had y'all guess the year on it, but it's a 97, made August 27th, according to this engine cover. I don't know what the oil and air filter situation is. Seems to be alright. A little dark. Like I said, I was just kind of instructed to get this running. So that's what we're going to do here. 46-inch deck. It did not come off of this mower. It has a little bit of holes here in the deck. I think it came off of an electric PTO mower. This is a manual PTO, so it's going to be a little bit interesting to see what we can do to get this to work right. But yeah, we'll see. Looks like it's lived a hard life, because this guy, he's used it for like brush cutting and stuff. But some people, you know, you get a cheap mower like this, the mower was given to them, so you can't fault them. I mean, it doesn't really have any, you know, skin in the game with it. Now, if you did this with like one that you paid like $1,000 and stuff for, then that's a little bit different. But everything up in the console area looks pretty good. The parking brake, for some reason, does not want to engage, and I think that's where my issue is lying with this brake safety and stuff, is that the park brake doesn't want to engage, so I've got to figure that out. He did put a new starter solenoid on it, so what I am going to do first is see if just crossing the terminals, because he did put a 4-post on it, so you have the ground, and then you have the the continuity wire. So pretty much this is a purple wire. You're going to measure the continuity from the purple wire up to the switch. Now, if we have full continuity up to the switch with this blade safety being off, we can test each switch. So there's 2 switches that allow this thing to start. The seat's not one of them, so I'm not really looking at that one. The seat only allows you to, like, the seat is only here for whenever the mower is running. It will not allow you to run the mower without the park brake being on. It doesn't have anything to do with the starting. So that's what a lot of people have issues with, is that they're like, well, it doesn't start, I replaced the seat safety switch. No, that's not it. You either have a brake safety or a blade safety on engines like these. Once you get into zero turns, it's a whole different story, though, because you got safeties everywhere. that's where we're going to start with this thing. All the wires going to the starter and all that seem like they're doing okay. The battery does have enough voltage to start it. So what I might do is grab a screwdriver and see if we can just, I hate to do it, to cross the terminals just to see if it'll start. Maybe at first I'll do the proper thing and measure continuity between the switch and that purple wire on the solenoid. Let's do that first. Alright guys, I'm going to do my best to show you continuity here. I don't know how well I'm going to be able to illustrate it. Maybe y'all can see that multimeter. Probably not. But here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to take this, set it to ohms. 20K is fine. We're going to be testing for 0 or infinite. So sticking it in this starter solenoid terminal, I don't know if this is the correct positioning for a starter solenoid on one of these, but I do know that the purple wire is the continuity wire to allow this thing to start on a John Deere. So we're going to see what's going on with that. Taking the ignition switch, sticking it in there. I do not have continuity between the ignition switch and the solenoid. Let's push the brake down. And I don't get anything there. So my bet is I've got to get under this thing and check the park brake safety switch and see exactly where this is going. There's another switch that you can't see that I'm going to try in series here, and it's the blade safety. We're going to test it on between the ignition switch and the blade safety, which I think we have continuity. Yeah, we do. I mean, it went straight to 0, so we have continuity between that, which means that our brake is between, well, we can make sure that it's not the blade safety itself. So I put the post on the other side. That would measure between the blade safety and the solenoid, and I'm getting open circuit still. Obviously, because I can't push the park brake down, I believe that I've got something going on with the park brake switch, and I have to figure out where that is. I know on the older John Deeres it's on that side, but on these I'm not fully sure. I think what I'm going to have to do is grab a jack or something along those lines. I got to get under this thing, see if I can find this this switch. Let me pull it back in the garage a little bit and we'll see what we got. Alright guys, so I don't have to get a jack or anything. I'll show you where the brake safety is. I'll show you what's going on with it. I have to figure out this park and brake lever situation too, but we'll get to that. So here's the brake safety lever. Let me push it down. You can see that we're getting, I got a little bit of resistance in there or something. Can't show the camera very well. So I think what I might do is I might try and take this thing out. First off, I'm going to confirm that I have no continuity between the switch, which is really easy to do. All I pretty much have to do is grab the multimeter. I can keep y'all right here and you can watch me. Yeah, there we go. I'm going to grab the multimeter. Put her on the ohms setting. See if we can illustrate this here. So, your two purple terminals. My goodness, I'm making this difficult, aren't I? Your two purple terminals are going to be your terminals for your brake safety. Alright. So it actually looks like we have continuity between the two for some reason already. It doesn't really make that much sense. So let me take and see if I'm getting any continuity up to the... So on that side I am. Ooh. So in theory I should be getting it on this side too. I am. So I've got something going on. So it's like the brake safety is actually messed up, and it's stuck in the position, the run position. So my brake is somewhere between the brake safety switch and the blade safety switch. Oh boy. So it looks like I might have a bad wire somewhere, because if I'm getting continuity through the brake safety switch, then, which I am, because I go over here to the starter solenoid and I've got 0, and that's what you want to see. You want to see 0, because you need to complete that circuit between the ignition switch and the safety. So, let's go up from the brake safety to the blade safety and see if I'm getting continuity there anywhere. And it's possible that I pushed the button and the things just decided it wanted to start working again. So let me go for broke and try the ignition switch. Ooh. I don't know how well I'm going to be able to show this to y'all, but let me just pop it in the ignition switch, pop it in this brake safety, and I've got 0. So do I have 0 between the ignition switch? I do. So now the question is, will this thing just start up? No. Which is really weird. So I've got continuity between everything. Does that mean that the ground wire is not good? Does that mean that the starter solenoid is bad? Not sure, but I do know that I have continuity between the ignition switch and the starter solenoid terminal there. So now we'll check for, I'll keep checking around, guys. I don't see why it would not start, because that should allow it to get fire. But now, after I mess with the switch, so the brake safety's working. So we've got, brake safety works. So there is no reason why this thing shouldn't start. So we don't have a safety switch issue. Either you got a starter solenoid issue, or we've got a ground wire issue to the starter solenoid, which is very possible. So that's one thing I need to investigate. Let me grab a screwdriver and I'm going to see if I can just jump this thing off like old school. Alright, let the sparks fly, hopefully. Maybe not. Yeah, I've got... I'm almost certain that I've got a grounding issue. Yeah, I'm almost certain I've got a grounding issue with the starter solenoid. It should pop off right there. Or if I've got a bad solenoid altogether. Like I said, it should just be popping right off right there. And if the starter was bad, it would arc. It would arc at the starter. So we're not getting, something's not getting grounded here. I'm fairly certain. Or unless we just have a, that wouldn't make any sense. I'll make sure that this battery's got 12 volts, but I tested it last night and it's got like 12.4, which should at least make it bark off for us. Or give us some sparks, one of the two. So yeah, 12.47, 12.48, so. Now I'm chasing a ground issue. Well, let me check. Oh, I'm getting no volt. Well, that would make sense. 12.46. .48. If I remember right, though, I thought that 12 volts always goes to the starter. And the switch, maybe not. So we got 12 volts going down here. We don't have it going to this side. And grounding wise, what do we have? We have 12 volts going there. We do. Take this bad boy for a ride. I think I got a bad solenoid. Grounding, no resistance. I don't have infinite resistance. Okay. I think I have a terminal that's popped out. That doesn't help matters, does it? Yeah, I'm almost positive I have a bad starter solenoid. Because everything checks out otherwise. Like it's not even trying to bark off. I've got a good ground wire. And that thing should jump right off when I do that with the screwdriver. And it's not doing a thing. Guys, everything checks out. I think it needs a solenoid, to be honest with you. Do I have one here already? I'm not sure. No, I've got a 3-pole over there. And I'll double check the grounds, but I don't think they have a ground issue either. Alright, so I think that's what I think we got going on. Because if it was a starter issue, we would be having problems. Well, I'll tell you what, let's switch the posts to make sure. I don't think this has anything to do with it. But just for kicks while we're here. No, okay. So we're getting continuity between the safety switch wires. We are getting 12 volts down to the solenoid. We got a good ground to the solenoid, which leads me to believe the only thing's wrong is the solenoid. So let me order a solenoid or get a solenoid, and we'll see what we end up with here. Alright guys, I'm here. I'll show you the complete process. All I've done is take the battery out. That was just a couple of 7/16 and removing this battery strap to get the battery out. Super easy. This particular solenoid looks like a replacement solenoid. It's a 1/2 inch bolts to get it out. The positive wire came with it. We know the positive is good because it's testing 12 volts down there. We don't hear anything clicking on the solenoid either, so we kind of know that we've got issues going on. Like, it's so dead that it won't even click. So I just suspect this has been out in the elements and stuff like that. So it's only bolted down with one bolt, so that doesn't help matters either. So somebody replaced this to see if it would do anything, and it's been there for a little bit, so I guess it worked for a while. Now I'm just going to take a 3/8 and get that bolt off. This, with the 4-post deal, you don't necessarily have to have it bolted to anything, actually. You can have a good, your ground comes through the post, it doesn't come through the frame of the mower. So that shouldn't be mattering at all. While I've got this off, I might figure out the park brake situation too, so I don't have to do more work than is required. Alright, so that's that. Here's a solenoid that chilling in the garage. I don't keep solenoids that are bad, so hopefully I don't eat my words here, because like I said, I do my best to not keep bad solenoids, but who knows. I'm going to find a matching 3/8 bolt while I'm at it, so that I can bolt this down in 2 places. Park brake. What in the world is going on with this? If I mash down, pull up, oh, I got it to hold. Now I've got to get it to release. I think it's a bunch of crud down there. I might just have to WD-40 it up. But I got it to hold. Better than I guess what it was doing. So let me work on that a little bit as well. Spray a little bit of lube down the hole right here. And check under the mower to see where that arm goes. And I'll see what it ends up being. Alright guys, I know you're here for the starter solenoid for right now, but the park brake is fixed. There's a little don't know if you can see it in there. It's a circular arm on the park brake where the arm comes down. Let me see if I can feel it. It's that right there. Right there. Darn, I just had it right there. That's where your park brake lever is. And this is like a pivot point right here. This pivot point was all oiled up. I put a little bit of WD-40 and stuff on it. And it is now working beautifully. Well, much better. It's not 100%, but say park brake off, park brake on. I've got the new solenoid here, and we'll put that on next. I just wanted to show you that fix first real quick. Alright y'all, we're going to put the solenoid back on. We have already put the solenoid mounted on here. Go ahead and put these little rings on this solenoid as well. I want to say this came off of a riding mower that I thought needed a solenoid, but actually needed a starter. So hopefully we have something good here. Doesn't matter what side you put it on. This is a switch. It either opens or closes, so it's not some sort of like weird current or anything that where one side only does a certain thing. So alright. This one's a little close to the block, so it's a little tricky getting it on. My goodness. There we go. So we'll tighten this up. Tighten this, I guess down or up would work. Gonna have enough room here. Am I gonna have to get a wrench for that? But I'll tighten this up. Put the positive cable on. Positive cable's seen a little bit better days, but I guess it still works. Somebody's crimped a new end on it. So I'll get a wrench on that. And all it's a matter of it doing now is you just need to hook up your ground. And the wire for the continuity to the switch, between the switches, which we've determined are good. So I'll tighten everything up, install the battery, and we'll give this thing a whirl. Alright guys, so here's where we're at. I found that the starter was completely locked up solid. I can't show you because of the Bendix. Well, I can. So this starter, it's not on its grooves, but like it is completely locked up. So that was another issue that we were dealing with. Now we've got a starter that'll turn. However, I heard the starter solenoid click once or twice. What I'm thinking is that I have a bad positive battery cable, because I mean, what do I have to lose here, right? I'll show you that it goes down and like sparks. Like we can't get it to, I can't get it even to fire on that. So my thinking is, it's like I said, it's got enough battery amps, or it's got enough volts to start the battery, 12.4 to start it should at least try and engage the starter, and it's not doing that. So what I think is going on is I think this battery cable right here, this positive cable, is bad enough to where it's not allowing enough current to go through, and needs to be replaced. I don't have any other theories, because I did try to click over the solenoid and it didn't do it, and I'm trying to short the solenoid out and it's not doing it. So, and I've got good ground from what I can tell, because it tried to start earlier. I can try a battery. I don't think it's the battery. We're going to do a little bit more diagnostics here, but let's look at the resistance between the positive terminal and the terminal here. Oh. Okay. So I've got nothing between no issues right there. Voltage wise, this battery has 12.4 volts. I don't see why it's not running. I could try a new battery. Something with the amps might be wrong with this thing. I'm not sure. I can hear it try to click, which is more than what we had earlier. Let me try a battery, see if that's the issue. And if it's not, then we might get a brand new solenoid. I don't know why this one doesn't seem like it wants to work right, but do all this work. I mean, it's clicking now, so it's everything is happy. When it comes to this, let me, as a last, not a last ditch effort, but as a last resort, let me make sure it's not the battery, and we'll go from there. Because, like I said, it's clicking now, which we're better off than what we were. So that's good. Alright guys, so I had one of those instances where I just put my head down and just tried to crank it out to see what we could do. And I finally got it. Thank goodness. So, you remember when I said I only keep good starter solenoids? This one's not one. In the trash it goes. I think one thing I may have been missing, I have a new battery, so it could have been a battery as well. One thing I could have been missing was, I don't remember this wire right here. This wire was, I don't know if it's like a fusible link between the two, but this is a continuity wire between the ignition switch, the starter solenoid, and the ignition coil, kind of looks like in there. That was not plugged in, and I think that's where I was having a bunch of my issues. This is actually important. It can't go on either side of the solenoid. It needs to go on the hot side of the solenoid. Now, when I did that, I had 12 volts all the way through and through. So, and it just clicks over the starter now, so that's a good thing. Super. Sometimes I just need some time to diagnose. So, we've had a new starter, and, well, battery, I put a positive cable on it too. Solenoid's the same, so that's my fault. So, guys, what do you think? You think this thing will fire up? I want to get a couple of tools off of it real quick. Let me do that, and I'll cut the video, cut it right back on before we try and start this thing. Alright guys, let's see if it'll start. Great. Let's see if it restarts. Oh boy. Come on, buddy. So the park brake got stuck again. Boy, there we go. She's a little rough around the edges, but I think that brake safety is kind of getting a little wonky. But that's all I really got time to work on it today. That is good. We'll check back tomorrow and make sure it'll start up for us. I think we'll be okay. So that's good. I actually don't even know if it's charging the battery. You want to check that real quick before we call it? Well, may not be able to. Come on, seriously? 13.2. So you learn about things whenever you do stuff. It looks like you actually have to be sitting on the seat maybe not. See, I thought you had to be sitting on the seat in order for this to fire, but it doesn't look like it actually. Looks like you just have to press it. Looks like you just have to press it down to start it. So that's where we're at with that. We'll check tomorrow, make sure it starts up for us. I'll put the cover back on. Now we'll go into the deck situation. I think that might be a little bit trickier. Alright guys, this is a little bit of a pile here. Let me show you what I found so far on the deck. Diagnosing and all that stuff. So obviously we've got a lot of movement in the arm here, but when I pull the arm really far back, it will raise the deck. It just will not lock it into place for some reason. I think we're missing a spring somewhere, somehow. So it'll get down to the height. I just want to see if it'll adjust. But what I have found, because it won't, spring back like it's supposed to all the way, is if you take a look down here, I don't know how well I can show this to you. You see that spring right there in the center of your screen? So that spring looks like somebody took the original spring, added a broken spring to it to fit it onto that. That's kind of crazy. That would explain why the retract rate is so far back. Because if you, let me see if I can push this and y'all can see this. You see how it's pushing back? So that's interesting, so to speak. Now the question is, I'll put you on the tripod and I will lower and raise the deck to see if it will lower and raise. I don't know if this is something that I can fix very easily. Because I'm thinking of, the time factor and stuff now. Oh yeah. So if you get it all the way up. Ooh, hello. Now I've got it where I broke it, of course. See, it gets to a point and it breaks. It like loses its gusto, so to speak. If we get to the top, it'll eventually do that. So I don't know. That's just one of the things that this has happened before on these adjustments. And I'm just not sure how to fix it. You can raise it kind of, then you get to where it won't stay. Now that'll stay. But if I go one more, it goes right back down to the bottom. So I don't know exactly how this works, to be honest with you. had a there we go. I had another John Deere that was kind of like this, an LX277, which kind of did the same thing. So what I could tell the customer is that you can get it up here, and that's pretty darn high for the deck. I'm gonna raise it up a little bit in the front because it is bent a little bit down. I'm gonna tell them that you can, like most people gonna cut at a regular mowing speed, you know, and or regular. You're not gonna be raising. The only time you're gonna be raising the deck is to get over a tall item. You're not gonna be mowing your grass at different levels or whatever. And given the situation, I think he'll be decently satisfied with what, because we're not trying to fix everything. The goal is just to get it running, and we got it running. So I think what I'm going to do, this thing, like I said, this thing right here has been rigged, and rigged again a little bit on the deck. I'm just going to tighten that front grabber up a little bit with the, what is that? Probably a 3/4 or something along those lines. And I think I can pull it out and tighten it a little bit just to get the front of the deck up a little bit. It doesn't need to get up much. I mean, if we take my oil filter here, I'll grab it out of the cabinet. Still got a mess in the garage here trying to catch up on projects. Oh. I'm going to look at the level of the deck. I'll tell you how, well, I can show you on this side, I suppose, how tall it is on one side as opposed to the other. So we're kind of near the top of the oil filter right there, and we're kind of about at the logo on that side. So about right here on the front and about right there on the side. I'm just going to raise it up a little bit, route this deck belt, probably give them a call after that, just to kind of see, because we're already into the starter. And honestly, I would like to be in it for a brake safety switch too, because I think there's a designated sweet spot in that safety switch, and I think it's going out. So I might do a little bit of electrical cleaner on it just to see if I can clean up the contacts a little bit, but I think it's an internal issue with the switch. I might route the belt, see if it needs a belt. It does need a belt, but I want to see if it cuts. And then I'll tell them, you know, tell them what's going on. Alright guys, so all I did was take it was a 15 millimeter, take a 3/8. It was free, and I was able to get that off, or get that raised up a little bit in the front. We're not, you know, gonna split hairs with this thing. We're just gonna get it to where it is nice and functional for the owner. He actually even said if the deck didn't work out, to not really sweat it. I don't think that me trying to pursue fixing those deck springs is worth my time and effort, given the fact that like I said, I already have a starter in it, and will probably have a brake safety switch in it when it's all said and done. Let me get this thing out, and I did reroute the belt. It does seem tight. We're going to give it a shot. And we'll see what happens, honestly. So stay right there. Take it out here because I don't want anything to fly around, because I think the belt's a little bit, the belt's trying to go here. Well, it tried, I guess. Well, it wrung itself off of the deck when I tried to start it. So let me try and reroute it back on and see what happens. Alright guys, so I got it all lined up here on the deck belt, and it's done a successful mow, at least through the driveway. That's probably as good as I'm gonna get this, to be honest with you. So the deck belt routing, what does it do? Go from the main drive pulley to this pulley, to that pulley, across to the other blade on the right side, to the blade in the middle, to the tensioner pulley, to this guide pulley, back to the deck pulley, or back to the crank pulley. And y'all, it seems to work. I'll show you. Not crazy about it, but I did get it functioning again. Here's the thing that I'm struggling with though, and this mostly because of the deck that's on it. My theory is that this is a 46-inch deck that potentially came off of an electric PTO originally and was somehow retrofitted to this, because the blade brakes and all that good stuff are not really on it, at all, because this deck is so ancient. You pull the belt does tighten up, tightens up decently. When you release it though, there's obviously nothing holding the force back. However, it is staying on the guides at this point, so that's a good thing. I didn't think it was going to be doing that, so that is probably all I'm going to do. I'm going to put the old battery back in because I did charge it up, make sure it works. The brake seems like it is cooperating with me, which is good. So that's even better. And like I said, I think we're alright. We've put the starter on it. We put a positive battery cable on it. We have, I guess, freed up the contacts in the brake, because this thing will generally start right up now. So there's some sort of disconnect between the brake safety and the seat safety, but it will turn off when you pull the blade safety. The seat's a little wonky. So this thing's a little bit of a basket case, but it really is not as bad as I thought it was going to be. Again, I was just instructed to get it running, and as a bonus, if I can get it mowing again, that would be great. I'll put the old battery back in it, and we'll wrap this video up. Alright guys, so the old battery is back in it. Starts and runs great. Now, I think I must have freed something up in the brake safety to where to get the contacts back going again. I'm not sure how long this thing was sitting, but it must have been sitting a while, because the park brake was frozen. The what else? Starter was frozen solid, rusted out. And positive cable needed replacing, and obviously we needed to do a little bit of deck work, rerouting the belt and things like that. Does it warrant doing any more work to it? Not really, because you're starting to push into the, you know, is this mower worth much more than what I'm going to be getting to repair it? You know, I'm not sure. But like I said, we got it going for now. I gave y'all a test mow, and she starts right up. I knocked the idle down a little bit. This guy's pretty decently inclined, so, you know, I'll let him do the oil change and air filter and stuff like that. Save him a couple of bucks. I'll touch base with them, but I think this is all that I'm going to be doing to it. The extent of the repairs on my end. I got it running and driving for him, which is awesome. And as a bonus, I was able to get the deck working good enough to mow. I mean, I went up and down the driveway a few times and blew off my driveway and seemed to be doing okay. Again, this is a completely retrofitted deck from what I can anticipate. If y'all know more than me, please let me know, but I'm thinking this is from like a 318 John Deere or one of the 200 series that are from like the 90s. This is around early 2000s model. These are the ones that had the horrible hoods on them. That's why the hood's not on this one. But we got it back going again. It seems like the safeties are working good enough to where at least the blade or the motor will cut off when you turn the blades on if you're not on the seat. So that's the big one. As for the others, not fully sure, but it's not going to run away from you because it's not a geared transmission. So again, I don't think it warrants doing any more work to it. But y'all can let me know. I appreciate y'all watching as always. I hope y'all enjoyed this adventure. This is a little bit different for me. Don't really do a bunch of Franken riding mowers, especially repairs. But I try and help the church members and stuff out. And this is just one of those instances where I think it's going to work out all right. I might get a little barter for a little bit of work around the house for it instead of some cash. So that'll work out just fine too. Either way, we got another one running, got another one fixed, and that was completely dead on arrival, and I thought it was going to be a lot more work to it than it actually was, but it really was not too bad, thankfully. So, again, if you have any questions or comments, feel free to reach out to me, Ellis at ellismowers.com. You can reach out to me on Facebook and Twitter, or Facebook and Instagram at ellismowers09, and I'll catch y'all in the next video. See you then.